Welcome to RSP Online Training. Today we're reviewing the new RSP Attendance Tracking Form. You've been talking and we've been listening. We're excited to introduce this user-friendly version of our Attendance Tracking Report. In addition to providing useful attendance rate calculations, it allows you to add and delete rows wherever you need to. This new form is designed to be eco and budget-friendly as well. The new format will allow most of you to complete the report on only 1 to 2 pages. So let's get started and take a look at some of these new features. In this session, we'll review saving and naming your monthly reports, filling in required information, adding and deleting students, taking advantage of built-in calculations, and best practice tips to help you along the way. Let's get started. Just a quick note, you'll most likely be working on your forms in Adobe Reader. This demo was created using Acrobat Pro, so you may see a few menu options that aren't available to you. No worries, you won't need any of them to use this form. When you open the form from an email attachment, the RSP Resource Center, or a previous month's copy, it'll launch in its own window. From there we can name, save, and fill in the report. Feel free to use the zoom control to adjust the size of your view. Let's select File and Save As from our menu. If you have options here, just choose PDF as the format. Now you can decide the name and location of your report. When deciding where to keep your documents, we highly recommend that you always keep student confidentiality in mind. Best practice is to keep your RSP files password protected and on a secure internal server if available, instead of any mobile devices. To review security options for individual PDFs, just select File, Properties, and then Security from the menu. To ensure that you're always working in the correct document, save your file before and after you fill in the current information. It's a good idea to name your files in a consistent manner, using your school name, the name of your report or document, and a date. You can use underscores and spaces any way you like. Other symbols, such as dashes or slashes, are not recommended. Now just hit Save. You can see now from the title of the report on the top of your screen that you are working in the correct report. Let's begin by filling in our school information. Just use the drop-downs to select your school, month, and year that you're reporting on. Continue on with the number of RSP students enrolled for the current month, how many exits and entries you have this month, and how many days your school was in session. This information alerts us to watch for entry and exit documentation and helps us check the attendance report for inconsistencies. The general comment section is next. Please take a second to let us know any days that your school was not in session or that classes were not held, such as professional development days for teachers or grade card pickup days. A brief note is all that's needed. Now, just drop in your name and the date you're completing the report. A calendar will pop up with today's date highlighted for you. Let's move on to student information. The first time you use this form, enter your students in alphabetical order. You will see as we move forward how you can easily add and remove names from this ongoing list. Enter students by last name and then first name. Select New Entry or Exit for any students that you're enrolling or dropping in the current month. A tip will appear to remind you of any documentation that should be included. Next, select the entry or exit date. Another tip will remind you to double-check that this date matches the entry or exit form, and be sure to include both the RSP entry and exit dates on the attendance report. Now just fill in the number of days present and absent each week. The form will calculate totals for each student. You will see the number of days absent and present, the total school days possible for that student, and the monthly attendance percentage. Any student with less days possible than the amount you entered at the top of the form should be an exit or an entry for that month. Comparing these two fields is a good way to review your report for accuracy. Please provide comments for any RSP participants whose attendance falls below the 70% benchmark. Don't worry about having enough room for your comments. This field will expand to fit any comments but stay one line only when not used. Just another way to keep this form down to a minimal amount of paper needed when printing. Let's enter another student. You'll notice that when the attendance for a student is below the 70% benchmark, that field will be highlighted in red. This will help you see at a glance that comments explaining the low attendance rates for this student should be provided. We promise that it will be easy to add and delete names from your report as students enter and exit the program throughout the year. Let's take a look at how to do that. To insert a row anywhere you need it, simply click on the plus sign at the end of the row below where you want the new row to appear. A new row will be inserted directly above it. Easy, right? When a student has exited and no longer needs to be on your monthly report, just click on the X sign, and that row and student will be deleted. Piece of cake. This should make it easy to keep your reports in alphabetical order. As you add and delete students, the form will renumber the student list for you, so you can easily see the number of students included on the current report. Comparing this number with the number you filled in at the top of the report will help avoid oversights and errors on your report. In addition to the pop-up tips you see when you mouse over certain fields, each RSP form also has a general best practice tip included at the bottom of the form. Just click on the button to view it. This tip reminds us that best practice is to name our reports consistently and to save before and after our data entry. That's a great tip. Let's do that now. You can select File and Save from your menu, or just click on the Save icon in your toolbar. That's it. Now you see how easy it is to use the new and improved form. This concludes the RSP Attendance Tracking Form online training session. Thanks for joining in. We hope you found this tutorial useful and now feel at ease using the new form. As always, we welcome your input, ideas, and suggestions. Just shoot San an email at spears, that's SSPEARS, at asnchicago.org with your comments or requests, or start a group discussion online in the RSP Resource Center.